Happening now, bail reform. We hear from our local state senator as new polling data shows where New Yorkers stand on the topic. And new improvements are coming to the county's CARTS bus system. We're outlining the plan going forward. Plus, the rape trial against a Falconer man is set to get underway. A look at what he's accused of.
Live and on demand, this is WNY News Now.
And thanks for joining us for WNY News Now. I'm Justin Gould. Today we start with the weather forecast. All eyes are on this winter storm which is approaching our region in Dakota. I hear things can get pretty messy, but before that, we've been dealing with some flooding.
Yes, more flooding once again, but the good news is this flooding was not as bad as it was last week, where we had lots of widespread flooding. But this is what we had talked about yesterday with the advent of the rainfall and the snow melt that would, push some of these local streams and creeks to flood stage. This is Riverside Road and Kindtone. Sean Sweatman sending us in from the Storm Interceptor. And South Stockton, Cassadaga Road, you can see the snow melt there and obviously the water there from the creeks that are in Cassadaga. And this is a no-no right here. The road was blocked off because of flooding. Somebody tried to go past the barriers. Don't do that, okay? There's a simple rule that we say, turn around, don't drown, and don't drive through a barrier because you could end up like this. So fortunately, as far as I know, no injuries were reported out of that, but that's just a reminder. Don't drive through barriers or flooded areas. But then we turn to winter weather. So we have a winter weather advisory in place for all of the region. The whole map is covered in purple, and this is for obviously sleet and freezing rain, then snowfall as we go throughout the later part of the day on Friday. First defense Doppler's dry now, but that will be changing as we go into tomorrow. But enjoy today, though, even though it's colder, 27 to 33. This is your pick day because it all goes downhill from here. We'll talk about where it's going with that Ultimate Satellite Solutions 7-day forecast later on in the show. Justin.
All right, Dakota, we'll see you back. Well, last night, County Executive P.J. Wendell gave his State of the County address in which he highlighted the county's achievements and hardships from the past year. Our Julia Grass is breaking down the highlights.
Our main challenges of 2021 were the ongoing COVID pandemic and its effects on our budget process and the understanding and navigation of a concise strategy to appropriate American Rescue Plan Act, or ARPA, funding.
The executive commended the county health department, saying they rose to the challenge of combating surge after surge.
Much like in 2020, cases increased after the holidays. However, unlike in 2020, last year brought the Delta variant, increased hospitalizations, and unfortunately increased fatalities to Chautauqua County residents.
However, the county held 173 COVID-19 vaccine clinics and administered over 40,000 COVID-19 vaccine doses. Additionally, nearly 10,000 tests were given, and over 40,000 at-home test kits, and over 48,000 KN95 masks, and over 10,000 cloth masks were distributed to county residents. The county's budget was discussed too.
This budget provided one of the largest property tax reductions in over 20 years. A 51-cent per thousand reduction. This was accomplished while returning county government to pre-pandemic level of services, reinstating 140 jobs to the county workforce, and reducing the tax levy for our 2022 budget.
ARPA spending in the county was a major task this year, leading the executive to form a bipartisan group to decide where the $24.6 million would be allocated.
Our ARPA working group placed a special emphasis on public health, infrastructure, economic and workforce development, clean water, and public safety. Projects selected within these general categories were prioritized on the basis of countywide impact, the ability to address identified needs, and their future sustainability without impacting future county budgets.
Wendell claims 2021 was also a year of great economic success for the county. The county had an unemployment rate of 3.5%, the lowest rate since the 1990s. Additionally, $164 million was invested in Chautauqua County, which will create 314 new permanent jobs, retaining more than 1,750 current jobs.
It is critical to have incentives for sites for business development, safe and walkable communities, appropriate training and education curriculum for our workforce and students, quality housing, and fun and exciting things for people to do who choose to make Chautauqua County their home.
Julia Gress, WNY News Now.
Julia, thank you. You can watch Wendell's full State of the County address online now at WNYNewsNow.com and on Channel 716 on Roku. Chautauqua County's transit system will soon see a major upgrade. That's according to County Executive P.J. Wendell, who announced the news during his 2022 State of the County address last night prior to the legislature meeting. The system of carts will be rebranded as CHQ Transit. Wendell spoke to our crews following the night. He explains that the upgrade will help attract new customers while improving the experience of frequent riders.
And I think one of the things, here locally is that when people think of carts, they don't realize it's for everyone. They really haven't experienced carts, and they see, the criticism of half-empty buses, etc.
Wendell says the Public Works will be bringing in 3 new trolleys in an effort to rebrand the current system. Additionally, the executive says the buses will have different color schemes based on their routes. He goes on to say a mobile app and cashless tolling will also be included. And our state senator hopes that the results of this week's polling reporting that New Yorkers overwhelmingly believe crime is a serious problem and strongly support amending bail reform will further discussions in Albany. State Senator George Borrello spoke about the latest Siena College Research Institute poll, which outlined that 84% of those questioned believe crime is a serious problem. Before the polling, the Republican told us some Democrats were already willing to talk about reforming the 2019 law, like Buffalo Mayor Byron Brown. Earlier in the month, Senator Borrello and Assemblyman Andy Goodell proposed legislation that would, in part, return judicial discretion.
We have seen traction, and when I say that, they are talking about and when you have something like the bills that we presented that are a good template for our colleagues on the other side of the aisle, I'm hoping that that's what will get traction.
In the end, Borrello tells us it might come down to New Yorkers voting out representatives who don't take action on reforming or, in his opinion, revoking bail reform in New York State. A Faulkner man will stand trial next month on charges that include rape. A Chautauqua County court clerk tells us that Devin Smith's trial will begin with jury selection on March 17th. Smith is charged with rape in the first and second degrees, along with charges of sexual abuse and endangering the welfare of a child. A Chautauqua County District Attorney's Office alleges that Smith forced sexual intercourse and other sexual contact with a 14-year-old in December 2020. No other details of the investigation were revealed. Smith currently sits in Chautauqua County Jail on bail. The case was investigated by Ellicott Police and other members of the law enforcement community. Smith is being represented by the Public Defender's Office. The number of new COVID-19 infections continues to drop in Chautauqua County. According to data released by the County Health Department's latest update, 253 new cases were reported last week from February 13th through the 19th. 82 of the new cases are in Jamestown. The 7-day average percent positivity rate was at 4.3%, with the transmission rate still marked as high according to the CDC. 5 people died from COVID complications over the past week, which brought the county's death toll to 320. As for local hospitalizations, 11 people are seeking treatment in COVID units countywide, but officials say this number doesn't represent the county residents who are hospitalized around the region. Vaccination data states that 65% of residents have received at least 1 dose of the COVID vaccine, with 58% of people considered fully vaccinated. As WNY News Now continues, what our local rep in Congress has to say about the war in Ukraine and the president's handling of it. And a little bit later on, Dakota joins us once again with a full look at our weather forecast as the threat of a winter storm looms. Stay with us. WNY News Now will be right back.
With coverage that matters, this is WNY News Now.
Home fires occur most often in winter. Keep anything that can catch fire at least 3 feet from heating equipment. And never use an oven to heat your home. Stay in the kitchen when frying, grilling, or broiling food. Turn space heaters off when you leave the room or go to bed. Make sure all vents are clear of snow and ice to allow carbon monoxide to vent outside. Have your furnace, heating system, and chimneys serviced each year by a qualified professional. Learn more at www.usfa.fema.gov.
Brought to you by the Chautauqua Safety Village and the Jamestown Fire Department.
Welcome to Honest John's Pizzeria, where you are the most important customer.
Everything from freshly made subs to the best of pizza and wings, Honest John's has it all.
And don't forget the ice cream!
Order online today or check out our 2 great locations with buffets ready for every appetite.
Don't I have the best job in the world?
Now is the time to make your real estate move. Call us to list your home in Cattaraugus County. Choose the #1 real estate team in Ellicottville. Call Team Pritchard, 716-575-SELL. The market is hot. Call 716-575-SELL today.
EagleZip.com is your local one-stop shop for all of your home and business computer needs. Located on Fluvanna Avenue Extension, just outside of Jamestown, EagleZip.com sells and services all brands of desktops and laptops, as well as servers and network equipment for your business. All new computer sales include transferring your data from your old computer, plus a 2-year warranty. Call EagleZip.com today.
Stop by EagleZip.com today and let us make computers easy for you.
You're watching WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
A Frewsburg woman is facing charges in connection with a Town of Carroll vehicle theft. New York State Police received a report from a Frewsburg resident claiming that he left his truck on in his property Monday, and when he returned the next day, it was gone. Troopers allege 40-year-old Deborah Leroy was located with that vehicle in the city of Jamestown later in the week. She was subsequently placed under arrest and charged. Leroy was processed at the State Police Barracks in Jamestown and released with an appearance ticket. And a 45-year-old Dunkirk man is accused of stealing a rental car. That's according to New York State Police, who arrested Julio Morales on Tuesday. Troopers received a complaint from Enterprise Rent-A-Car claiming that he was supposed to return a 2020 Nissan Altima back on February 7th. He police report was later located with the vehicle by Dunkirk police officers. Well, this week is Highway Safety Awareness Week, and PennDOT and the Pennsylvania State Police are working together to raise awareness about the dangers of speeding and other related state laws. These laws include distracted driving, which could be anything that would take a driver's attention away from the road. As temperatures increase, you might see more state police out and about on area highways.
As the weather gets nicer, we see an increase in the speed and then an increase in accidents as well, because once the speed increases, then the chances for an accident also increases. So as the weather gets nicer, you're going to probably see more troopers and law enforcement officers out there running speed just to make sure that we can slow people down and get them from point A to point B safely.
Now, warmer weather is not the only time you could be pulled over. During inclement weather, too, like tomorrow, drivers could be pulled over and ticketed for going the speed limit if it's seen as a danger or reckless driving during that time. Our local congressional members are keeping a close watch on the Russian-Ukraine situation, but some now critical about the timing the sanctions President Biden imposed. Our Washington, D.C. Capitol correspondent Rachel Knapp with more.
Following President Biden issuing sanctions against Russia after Russian President Vladimir Putin declared parts of eastern Ukraine as independent, Congressman Tom Reed says the U.S. should push it even further to deter Russian aggression.
As we're seeing invasion today, I would ramp up economic sanctions on the country of Russia. I would ramp up sanctions on the oligarchs who are behind the scenes. I would ramp up sanctions on our banking institutions upon which they're doing financial transactions, and I would take those off the table as much as we possibly can.
Biden says these sanctions will hit Russia's largest financial institutions and their wealthy elite the hardest.
But some Republican members say that these sanctions are coming a little too late, saying that the U.S. should have imposed them a lot earlier. However, Democrats are saying that the steps Biden is taking is appropriate and that it aligns with NATO's plan.
I think the administration handled this, given the Russian intentions, as well as it could be handled. They telegraphed in advance the punitive sanctions that would be applied if Russia invaded. I think it made sense not to to enforce those sanctions before Russia invaded. If you do that, then Russia loses its disincentive. It figures, well, we've already been sanctioned, we might as well go forward.
The common ground between the two parties here is that Russia is at fault.
An attack on the Ukraine by the Russians is an attack on democracy.
This is when we stop our fighting as Republican and Democratic members of Congress, as well as the administration, and say, you know what, we stand united in our resolve to stamp out this type of aggression.
At the Capitol, Rachel Knapp reporting.
Rachel, thank you. Now, members of Congress say if refugees were to flee Ukraine, it becomes a humanitarian crisis. They're prepared to have around $1 billion ready to help them. And the Pennsylvania State Supreme Court chose the Commonwealth's new congressional maps earlier this week. That was in a 4-3 decision on Wednesday. The court ruled in favor of the Carter Plan. The Democratic majority court was tasked with choosing the new map after Governor Tom Wolf vetoed the one sent to him by the Republican majority General Assembly. The plan was submitted by the Carter petitioners in a lawsuit where they asked the court to take over the process when it became clear Wolf and the legislature would not reach an agreement. The petitioners submitted the map with the support from the National Redistricting Action Fund. That's an affiliate of the National Democratic Redistricting Committee. Rural areas will see an expansion of their district because of population loss. Candidates for Congress and statewide petitioners have from February 25th to March 15th to circulate and file their nomination petitions in order to get on the ballot in PA. At this point, the primary election in that state is still on schedule for May 17th. Coming up, a full look at our weather forecast as the threat of winter weather returns. All the details that you need to know next. Stay with us. WNY News Now. We'll be right back.
You're watching WNY News Now, your source for breaking news.
This winter, let New York State take your breath away. Come be a part of it. Plan your winter getaway at iloveny.com.
I'm a survivor. I'm a survivor. I'm a survivor.
Testicular cancer is the leading form of cancer in men aged 15 to 35.
1 in 250 men will be diagnosed with testicular cancer.
But 98% will survive if detected early.
As a survivor, I believe early detection is the key. Learn how to do a testicular self-exam and other important facts about testicular cancer at oneball4tc.com.
With coverage that matters, this is WNY News Now.
Fast, accurate, and everyday. First Defense Weather.
Well, welcome back, and it was a breezy day yesterday. The peak wind gust at the Jamestown Airport yesterday was 33 miles an hour, and obviously with the falling temperatures yesterday, that did not make it feel that much better for you. And but the good news is we're not dealing with falling temperatures today. And another piece of good news is water level across the local streams and creeks are starting to recede now, so we shouldn't have any more flooding issues. This is the river flow gauge that is at Salamanca on the Allegheny River, and you can see the current water level is 10.2 feet. It is now below flood stage. It crested yesterday at 11.4, and you can see that black line. That's the forecast water level over the next several days. 23 right now, a stark difference from 24 hours ago, but we were still falling down from the 50s yesterday. An east wind of 15 or a 12, the wind chill's down to 15, and hey, at least we have no fog out there to contend with through the day today. But the next big thing really is going to be winter returns. There's our winter weather advisory. All the counties shaded in purple. That includes all of western New York and northwestern Pennsylvania. This starts tonight and goes through Friday at 4 o'clock. And in terms of the weather impacts here, temperature is not going to be a big deal. The two big issues here is really going to be snowfall And then ice accretion. We're going to get a little bit of sleet and freezing rain that's going to come our way early tomorrow before it switches back over to snowfall. So here's our storm system right here, impacting portions of the Midwest, going down into the deep south. You can already see snow in parts of Missouri and Arkansas, and that's going to be moving our way as we go through the next 24 hours. So let's step you through it hour by hour on the computer modeling. Today should be your pick day. But I do think there'll be more clouds than sunshine, though, but at least it'll be dry. So any of the outdoor preparations you need to do, get it done today. Because as we go into the nighttime hours, we're going to start to see snow showers developing. But notice this pink line right here. This is going to be that sleet and freezing rain. And because the storm is riding so close to the region, this has been part of the caveat in the forecast. How far would this come up to the north? It does look like that the majority of that should stay further south of the state line, but across the far southern tier, we can't rule out the chance for some sleet and freezing rain. We switch over to snow showers for much of the day on Friday before they start to taper off as we go into Saturday. So snowfall totals going from tonight, Friday, and then through Saturday. Yeah, we're looking at about a hefty 3 to 6 inches. Some spots may get close to 7, but the caveat in here is going to be the ice accumulation. How much of this are we going to push northward? It does look like that it does, again, seem like the most amount of sleet and freezing rain will stay across northwestern Pennsylvania, but understand if this brings it up a little bit further to the state line, that'll throw snowfall totals off and see less snow. So the next 7 days are up here on the screen. So again, 32 tomorrow with potentially 4 to 7 inches through the day tomorrow. Temperatures go back down into the 20s for Saturday with a few snow showers. Then it looks like we return to the 30s as we head into the second half of the weekend. And it does look like as we go into the first week of March, Justin, temperatures will be on an uphill climb while staying quiet.
I feel like we're a broken record, but it's legitimately a roller coaster of weather, Dakota. Thank you. Well, around the nation now, U.S. Capitol Police and District of Columbia officials are preparing for a possible truck driver protest ahead of President Biden's State of the Union address next week. The Pentagon is evaluating a request for the National Guard to provide support at traffic control points in and around D.C. Officials are hoping to avoid potential challenges stemming from a possible disruption at key traffic arteries. According to the Pentagon, no decisions have been made as of yet to approve these requests. Maryland State Police say they are aware of threats by truckers to clog up the roads and shut down the Beltway, but there are no specific details. Now, yesterday we reported that a group of truckers out of Pennsylvania, specifically Scranton, Wilkes-Barre, are on their way, along with many other platoons from around the nation. And two of the top prosecutors in New York that are working on an investigation into the Trump Organization have now resigned. Kerry Dunn and Mark Pumpson Sr. submitted their resignation to the Manhattan District Attorney's Office yesterday. Prosecutors are investigating financial statements the Trump Organization provided to its lenders, insurers, and others. Now, prosecutors are reportedly taking a closer look at the accuracy of the statements. The Manhattan District Attorney pledged to focus on the probe after his election last year, saying it merits the attention of the DA personally. Well, explosions in Ukraine, President Biden concerned with what he called an unprovoked and unjustified attack by the Russian military forces overnight. Mandy Gaither with the latest on this crisis and now how world leaders are reacting.
A state of emergency in Ukraine. Calls for peace have gone unanswered.
President Putin, stop your troops from attacking the Ukraine. Give peace a chance. Too many people have already died.
Blasts heard in multiple Ukrainian cities after Russian President Vladimir Putin announced a military operation he says to protect Donbas, a separatist-held region of Ukraine.
Our plans are not to occupy Ukraine. We do not plan to impose ourselves on anyone.
In an emergency meeting Wednesday night, members of the UN Security Council condemned Russia's actions.
We're here for one reason and one reason only: to ask Russia to stop. Return to your borders. Send your troops and your tanks and your planes back to their barracks and hangars.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has introduced martial law and urged people to remain calm.
Stay at home if you can. We are working. The Army is working. The whole sector of defense and security is working. No panic.
In a statement, President Joe Biden saying Russia alone is responsible for the death and destruction this attack will bring, and the United States and its allies and partners will respond in a united and decisive way. The world will hold Russia accountable. I'm Mandy Gaither reporting.
With coverage that matters, this is WNY News Now.
How prepared is your family if a hurricane shows up at your doorstep, or a flood, or a blizzard? You can't just turn away a natural disaster. That's why it's important to go to ready.gov/plan now. It has the tools and tips you need to make an emergency plan with your family. So if disaster comes knocking,
let's go.
You'll be ready to help keep your family safe.
It's just a pizza.
Yes! Make a plan today.
Remember when you were a kid, huddled around the television waiting for your school to close? Well, we don't get snow days. When winter weather hits, count on the First Defense Weather Team for a look into the future where the snow is headed next. Live radar showing you the scope of the storm. And real-time reports from the field. So when it matters most, stay with First Defense Weather.
Catch your First Defense forecast daily on WNY News Now. You're watching WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
Welcome back to WNY News Now. Finally here today, a pair of eye-opening viral moments. One captured on the court, the other caught on camera. Jeremy Roth has today's Take a Look at This.
A Virginia high school basketball player found a way to turn a blowout loss upside down. Did he just do a backflip? Christchurch senior Evan Randall went in the game's final moments with his team down by 40 points.
I wanted to make a memorable moment for myself as a senior. I used to be a cheerleader, so backflips was like a second nature to me.
Randall's coach said with the game well out of hand, he encouraged his players to leave it all on the court.
He literally took what I said, just have fun, and he had fun.
The teen's acrobatic bucket has gone viral, even nabbing an ESPN shout-out, but for Randall, it was all about the memories.
I'm definitely gonna remember this.
You can always count on Mom to be Mom.
This is my mom, hold on.
WSYX reporter Miles Harris learned this the hard and hilarious way when his attempt at a live shot in Columbus, Ohio was interrupted by his proud mama who was just passing by.
I'm trying to work right now.
The cackling you hear is coming from cameraman D'Angelo Bird, who captured the embarrassing and endearing scene.
Did you record that?
Recorded and posted online, where the clip went viral, catapulting this dynamic duo into the national spotlight, catching the eye of multiple network talk shows.
I won't tell any dirt if I can get my mixer back. And he uses my mixer, and then I don't see it for 6 months.
Like I said, you can always count on Mom to be Mom. For Take a Look at This, I'm Jeremy Roth.
Oh gosh, man. Hey, who doesn't love a surprise visit from their mama during the workday? Let us know what you all think about this.
Another mixer controversy. Y'all remember Peachy and Elaine? That's the world's oldest blender. It's the first. Oh, no, wait. It was a mixer, not a blender. I'm sorry. Was she talking about a mixer or a blender that he borrowed?
Yeah, a mixer.
A mixer. Okay, yeah. It was a mixer controversy.
Hey, you know,
the first stand mixer ever made.
Appliances, they go missing sometimes, especially if you have things on loan. Like I've had things that have been loaned to me, and unfortunately, they're still at my house. I just have to get them back. So.
Okay, so well, let's just start jotting out names here. So, who do you owe what to?
Well, that's all the time we have for today. Oh gosh, News 24/7 at WNYNewsNow.com. We'll leave you with this live look over Lakeside Park, and I promise I will get the things back where they need to go.